Hey, Mystic Michaela, spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today we're talking about, well, all things anxiety. It's a few days after Election Day. We're taping this portion of the podcast. And, anxiety felt like a pretty good topic to discuss today and how each aura color deals with it. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
What's going on?
A lot of anxiety out there.
Yes, anxiety.
For me, the anxiety actually is revolving around this notion or this idea that our family has come up with. And this idea that you, Brianna, and Abby have come up with is that we should start preparing for the Christmas season.
Yeah, so I've been noticing a trend on my block. People are starting to put up their Christmas trees. And I'm like, what a great idea. Like, seriously.
Okay, well, first of all...
You know we love Christmas, and the kids are with me on it.
Now, this is giving me a little anxiety. Okay. I know for everybody else it's been the presidential election. But for me, it's...
No, it's not that at all, Scott. That's not stressing you out at all.
I'm already sweating here.
Yeah.
Because for me, Christmas, we usually do Christmas the day after Thanksgiving. Yeah, we have Thanksgiving, and then we do Christmas.
Yes.
But now... Abby's already saying, hey, let's get the tree up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues that are going to come up
We could just do the tree.
Well, no, you can't go half.
Well, I feel like we all need Christmas cheer. I mean, it's the only thing that's going to bring us all together as a nation is Christmas cheer and Hallmark movies and Christmas music.
Well, we tried, actually.
And cookies.
The other day we did try on Netflix to watch that new Christmas movie.
Holiday is...
Holiday.
I didn't like that.
It was terrible.
I didn't like it.
We got through the first scene or two.
I have a high tolerance for Netflix programming, and that just was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Emily in Paris, and I was okay with it. So Holiday, it just didn't work for me.
No. And look, the last thing that people need right now is me to red rant.
Oh,
there's just too much energy going on.
Yes.
But think about this.
Oh, no.
If we start Christmas... Now I don't know what the date is today. I can't even remember.
This is a red rant.
Ever since I retired from teaching, I can't remember the date. But early November. Okay, think about it. You start
November
playing
6th.
The Christmas movie. The Christmas music starts playing on the radio.
It already has.
You're going to be sick of that by December 18th.
No.
Yeah.
No, because I don't like the feeling of the sadness when Christmas is over. So maybe I'll be sick of it, and I'll be okay with Christmas being over.
All right. I mean, you might want to kill Josh Groban.
I love Josh Groban.
If you're going to listen of Josh Groban from November 6th to December 25th.
I love it.
That's a lot of Groban.
I love Groban.
That's too much Groban.
I love Bublé.
That's too much Bublé.
That meme where he's crawling out of his cave and everybody shares it every year. Michael Bublé crawling out of his cave. I need to see that meme.
No,
it's going to calm me.
He needs to sleep till Thanksgiving. He'll be grumpy. Bublé will come out grumpy.
Grumpy Bublé.
Grumpy Bublé. I mean, come on. So there's that.
Yes.
Okay, this is actually the biggest one. And hopefully, the kids do not listen to this podcast.
Oh.
All kids, this is what's it called? A warning.
Trigger warning?
Trigger warning.
Or is it adult content warning?
No. It's like a trigger warning for kids.
Kids listen. Kids listen to this podcast. Scott, I know where you're going with this.
Where am I going with this? Elf on the Shelf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is real. Elf on the Shelf is real.
It's real.
The elf is real.
Kids listen to this, don't.
No. But the elf, you're going to have to do the elf is going to have to do more things. More days.
Oh, no. The elf doesn't come till after Thanksgiving. I put my foot down there. that damn elf. He doesn't. He's not allowed to come until after Thanksgiving.
The elf in our household...
No, he's not allowed to come till December 1st, and everybody knows that.
Okay, but in our household, the elf comes the day after you put up the tree.
No, he comes December 1st. We always get a letter from the elves that say they're on their way.
And that is after we put up the tree. So
I don't know about that.
The elf's going to be coming November 15th.
Remember when the elf spelled our kid's name wrong?
I don't have enough powdered sugar and salt to do this. And string.
You don't have to do anything. All you have to do
the elf. Yeah.
Is let the elf do its thing. December 1st he comes.
All right. We also do our Christmas, we call it our Christmas S-Buy. We'll say crap for the show.
Crap buy.
Our Christmas crap buy.
Well, it's our annual you and I Christmas exchange.
No. First, I'm talking about with the kids.
Oh, the crap buy. Yeah.
Where we go to a Walmart or Target.
I want to do Lowe's this year.
We basically say, put anything you want in the cart.
Anything you want goes in the cart.
Right. The Christmas crap buy.
We just no questions. You want something?
Yeah.
It goes in that day. But it has to be Christmas themed.
But my wild's got to prepare for that. That's like early December. You're telling me November.
That's true.
Okay, so there's that.
Okay.
And then, like you said, we have our exchange.
Yes.
Now, if you are a listener of the podcast, you know that Mystic Michaela and myself only get each other 1 or 2 gifts every year, and it has a theme, okay? And what was it? I can't even remember last year's theme. Do you remember?
Last year was something you could buy for $20 at Burlington Coat Factory,
yes.
which was yours, and yeah, you won.
I am the victor.
I don't like that one.
And this year...
But I won the 2 years previous.
Yes, you
which
had
were the best impersonal gift.
Yes, you won that.
Yes. Like something you'd give somebody that you had no relation to or connection to at all.
Right. But the Burlington year was just a crushing defeat for you.
Yeah, it was.
And...
But this year
it is a gift or 2 gifts on, I think, under $20. We have to come up with all the rules, but...
Yeah, we have to lay down the rules.
That a distant relative would give you.
Yeah.
So like your long-lost aunt or a cousin.
Yeah, somebody you don't really have any relationship at all. They live across the country.
Right.
They send you a gift. You always are like, oh, it's so sweet, because you never send them anything. And that's what we're doing this year for each other.
Right. Now, does this person have to be of a certain age?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think maybe they're your elder and you still feel like you're a kid when they give you something.
Because that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, like even though like I'm not a kid, I still feel like a kid when I get it. And I'm always like, oh, I always forget to give them something.
Like I'm picturing like my 75-year-old aunt from, Chicago.
Right. And what she sends you.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Same. Yeah. And then that's what we'll give each other. And then, of course, like we did last year, you guys decide. I'll put it up on Christmas Day for you guys to decide.
Right. And we're going to be coming back to this.
Who won?
We're very early on at this year, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I already know what I'm getting you.
I already have one of the gifts, too.
Oh, that's right, you do.
I do. I actually have one.
Can we regift something? Can we send you a Can I send you a regift?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. No, you cannot regift.
I actually saved.
You're giving me anxiety. This is giving me anxiety.
I actually saved a gift from a relative just to give you this year.
Oh, if it's from yes, that you could do. I thought you meant it was like one of the gifts you gave me on one of the previous Christmases.
No, it's a gift from a relative that I got last year, and I would like to regift it to you as part of my gift.
Yes, that would, yeah.
And I'll let you know, and you have to wonder if it's a regift, just like you would if a relative
that
gave
is
it
in the
to you.
rule book, statute 2391.
Okay.
Yes, that works.
Good.
All right, so I got a lot of anxiety, and because of this Christmas thing. But I looked up the symptoms of anxiety, and most people probably know these, and like sleeping issues, irrational fears, panic attacks, rapid heartbeat, all these things. So what I wanted to do for the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family was come up with my own anxiety test, to see if you really are a sufferer of anxiety, or maybe it's not so bad and you just, once in a while, get a little sleep issue or something.
That's good of you.
Yeah. So I came up with my Scotty's homemade anxiety test. I've actually sent it out, and it's getting approved. I've sent it to the Detroit Behavioral Institute. They love it. They love it in Detroit. I've sent it out to the Behavioral Institute in Atlanta, Georgia. They love it there. And I've also sent it out to the Behavioral Institute at Temple University in Philadelphia.
Oh.
Okay, so one I sent to Detroit, one I sent to Atlanta, and one I sent to Philadelphia.
Oh, they're going to need it. They're going to need it.
Yeah, great institutes, by the way.
Yes.
Okay. So, are you ready to take the test?
I'm ready. Okay, I'll take the test. Let's see if I have anxiety.
Yes, but I also want you at home, the listener, or in the shower, sorry.
Because we know they listen in the shower.
Yeah, we all know you listen in the shower. To take the test as well. Okay.
This is so scientific. I'm so glad that you created
it. These institutes like it, and they're going to approve it, I think. It's going to get into those like journals of medicine and things.
Okay.
All right. Number 1, and most of them have 4 choices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In the past week, did you worry? And then how many days? Did you worry 7 days? Like all 7 days? Mm-hmm. Did you worry 3 or 4 days? Did you worry 1 or 2 days? Or did you not worry any of the days?
Like worry in general? Like every
like it was
day
like a worry
I
some day. You were kind of...
That's every day.
So you're all 7 days?
Yes.
Okay, so Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family members, write that down. If you had all 7 days, then you are like Mystic Michaela. Okay. Easy, right? Good question.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. That's a little vague, but okay.
Well, I'm getting there. Okay. Number 2. When watching, and you can fill in whatever Real Housewife you'd like, Kelly Dodd, Ramona, on the Real I'll use Ramona. When watching Ramona of the Real Housewives of New York, do you, A, get a sinking feeling in your stomach, B, feel the need to call Andy Cohen a psychopath and say, how could you possibly keep her on the show this long? want to pluck out your toenails,
Ew.
or make some popcorn and enjoy the show?
I get I was like A and D.
A and D? Okay,
Yeah.
so you're kind of sinking feeling,
Yeah.
and you want to make some popcorn.
But, I gave up New York because it got too stressful to watch it.
Okay.
I gave up Real Housewives of New York because it just got too freaking stressful to watch it. I have to... Yeah.
All right, what
they
if it was
were
like-
actually giving me anxiety. I feel like they actually have alcoholism issues.
What if it was like...
And I feel guilty watching it.
Okay, what if it was like Kelly Dodd or Housewives of
Orange County? No, I still watch that one.
So it still would be
A and D.
A and D.
Yeah.
Any housewife that it would not be A and D, like B, where Andy Cohen, what's going on here?
No,
Or-
that's why I stopped watching New York. Because I feel like these people have actual addiction issues and they need help. It's not nice to put a camera on them.
All right, so I'm writing that down, A and D.
Yeah.
All right, question number 3 for the Miss Michaela Spiritual Family, if you're taking the quiz. After watching Claire's 3-episode season...
Yeah, 4.
Wow, was it 3?
It was 4.
4. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She made it 4 episodes. Okay. A, do you want to cuddle with your dog and cry?
Love that dog. I have to take a moment for Claire's little dog. Brianna and I were watching last night pretending we were the dog. Every time she cries, that little dog paddles over and just kind of falls on her chest. It's the best dog.
Okay. All right, so that can be a possibility.
Yeah.
B, marry someone after your first date.
That was funny.
C, think that Bennett would make for a good boy toy.
That's yours.
What?
You love Bennett.
Oh, yeah. Bennett,
You're always like, they should pick Bennett.
he has the presidential suite. Or letter D, feel the need to DM someone for months and months and then say you had no contact with them.
I'll pick the dog.
So you're going with letter A.
Yeah.
Okay, MM is going with letter A. All right, I'm writing that down. Question number 4. All right, MM has just asked you to spend the night at the Ann Stevens house.
Oh, the Halloween episode.
Yes, you've invited them to the Ann Stevens house.
Yes, the haunted house.
Your first response is A, no way. You're sweaty, you're dizzy, you're panicking, you have a crazy rapid heartbeat. There's just no chance. Okay?
Okay, somebody, okay, this is a hard for me to answer. Okay.
Yeah,
I
it'd be
asked
kinda hard
myself.
you'd have to ask, you'd have to jump out of your body.
Yeah, pretend somebody's asking me.
Kind of like
Okay,
an
got
astral
it.
thing. Okay. B, sure, you got your sage, you got your selenite stick, and your hematite. You'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And this one only has 3 choices. Only, because I didn't have enough space to write the 4th one. Only if Chris Harrison gives you a date card.
Oh. I think the one with the crystal, and I'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the person would accept.
Yes, I would
your
accept my
offer.
own invitation.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay. All right, so this one is for football fans.
Oh.
I know we've been trying to get more guy listeners. Jumanji.
Right.
And this one's for them.
Okay.
So, and of course, women love football too.
Yes.
So here we go. All right. So you're watching. I'm going to put the Buffalo Bills in here, but you can insert any football team you like. You can say the Pittsburgh Steelers or whoever. Okay. Or the Detroit Lions. Or the Atlanta Falcons. Okay. You're watching the Buffalo Bills play football. A, you're nervous. They're just going to blow it again.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do.
It's my childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone in Buffalo knows.
We're traumatized.
No lead is safe. No lead is safe.
True. That's true.
You could be winning by
That's
so many points and
That
lose.
is trauma. That is real trauma.
You could be winning by so many points and lose. Okay.
That can happen.
That could happen.
If you're a Bills fan, you know that.
Without cheating. B, you don't really care. You just want the wings, the blue cheese, and the beef on weck. And of course, you put in your foods for your city.
Yes. Insert your food.
Insert your food. Like Pittsburgh, you get the Pimanti Brothers. The
those sandwiches.
Those sandwiches they eat. If you're in Philadelphia, you go with the cheesesteak. All right. We got to get a little more serious here. All right. Letter C. You puke after having one too many Labatt's at the tailgate party, Bill's Mafia. Or letter D. You calmly say there's always next season.
I would say it's like an ABD situation for me.
ABD.
Okay.
Okay.
I know it's not, I had to give up the win in life because I'm traumatized by the Bills, so I'd go for the food. And, you have to say just to make yourself feel better, well, there's always next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spoken like a true Buffalonian. All right. People are going to think we did this episode a little bit...
Drunk?
Drunk, yeah.
No, it's like 10 a.m.
This is not drunk history. Number 5. Somebody forgot to pay the Netflix bill.
That's you.
We
all get mad at you around here for that one.
You get a notification on your TV that it says your membership is on hold.
Oh, my God. That happened to me this morning.
A, You freak out in total panic.
That's me.
B, you decide to watch a show on Amazon
Nope.
Prime.
Never.
No, okay. C, you start blaming your amazing, wonderful, significant other.
Aw.
Or D, you have your daughter text that said significant other with tearful emojis.
That's what I do. I make Brie text yell at you. I mean, I could just do it myself. It's just that you were so... Okay. Because you're a red, you fear everyone stealing your credit card information. So for whatever reason, we can only pay for Netflix with gift cards. So it's not that I can't do it myself. I totally would just take out my credit card and do it myself, but I'd get red ranted for it.
Right.
So I have to wait till you get the approved gift card amount, which can never be more than for the month. Like right, you can't. All right.
So you
that's
got
my own rant.
A and D.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't get like the $50 gift card.
The pain people is almost over here. Question number 6.
How many questions are there?
There are. Let me see. I forgot how many I wrote. There are 9.
Okay.
So we're up to number 6.
Okay.
All right, your favorite bra crystal falls out and cracks on the floor.
Tragic.
Yes. A, you cry hysterically and ask your spirit guides, why me?
Yeah.
B, no biggie. Just go to mysticmichaela.com and buy a new one. No plug there. No plug there. C, panic sets in and you feel like your twin flame might show up.
Oh, gosh.
Or D, you can't sleep at night anymore because it was your favorite red garnet stone.
I would say E.
None of those?
Yeah, it's more like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's A a little bit.
I think that was going. Yeah, I was going with that with A.
Yeah, okay, that's A. Because I'd be like, oh, what does this,
right.
signify?
Right, like when like a crow flies by or a feather drops.
Everything means something. If you listen to this podcast, you can't just live your life. Something. Everything means something.
Right. There could be a whole can of tuna fish standing next to you, but if a seagull or a crow comes by and starts eating it, you got problems.
Okay, red person. All Our right. signs mean things.
All right. Let's go to number 7. We're almost done here. Number 7. You have a dream, and you're not sure if it was astral traveling, astral sex, alien probing. A, can't even say this with a straight face anymore. A, you freak out and listen to the astral travel episode of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
B, you calmly search for your stash of MIR. C, say, why am I freezing? And look to see if you still have your PJs on. I don't know
what does that even mean?
Well, the aliens came. They probed you. They probed you.
Right, that's like a two-step thing.
They forgot to dress you. Yeah, that's a two-stepper. One of my two-step jokes.
Yeah.
And D, you post on the MMSF page that Mystic Michaela came to you in a dream and told you your aura colors.
That makes no sense. None of that.
None of those.
By the way, if you don't know what MIR is, that's in the Starseeds episode.
That's in the Starseeds episode. And if you are not on the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family page, at least once or twice a day, you are in somebody's dream.
I do not sleep well, so this does not surprise me that I go hang out with people.
Okay, so that one you're not, you refuse to answer.
I can't follow. Okay. Next.
Too hard to follow. All right.
Pass.
Okay. Well, okay.
What?
No,
go ahead.
Number 9. Sorry, number 8. Let's just move on. Okay. Some stranger comes up to you and says, I think you might have been Anne Frank in a past life. Now, this one, A. Tell them you're mistaken.
Oh my God.
Anymore. Tell them you're mistaken. MM's mom was Anne Frank in a past life.
There's only one person who's Anne Frank in a past life.
Yeah, and actually it's the same choice for B, C, and D. So there's only one choice there.
That makes sense.
Okay. So if someone comes up to you, you know what to say.
Right.
All right, last and final question, thank God. Here we go. An Amish man comes up to you in a Chick-fil-A, a very crowded Chick-fil-A. I don't know why that's important, but it was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
A, you start sweating and say, is this my twin flame? B, you have an irrational fear that he might ask you to help him to build a barn.
Mm-hmm.
C, you get this very rapid heartbeat for no reason. And D, last one, think, I can't even read my writing. Think, is this what happened to Claire when she met Dale?
Oh, like you just fall in love.
Yeah.
Okay,
so an Amish man comes up in a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Sweating, it's your twin flame. He wants you to build a barn, rapid heartbeat, or is it love?
I would think, it's Scott. Okay. That's what I'd think.
All right. Well, please add up your scores, people. So just circle the number that you did. And I came up with a, like basically a scorecard. So there's 4 things. If you're scored, based on the choices that you selected. Okay. And I also gave you a solution. All right. So here it is. If you had a lot of A's.
Right.
You have very high anxiety. Stop watching reality TV and meditate right away.
Oh, okay.
If you had a lot of B's, your anxiety isn't too bad. Maybe a shot of whiskey once in a while will help you, and you'll be fine. Letter C, you're off the charts. Find Willie Nelson immediately and have what he's having. And letter D, you're a starseed. Call Keanu Reeves and hang out with him.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so add up your scores. Figure out which one you are. Of course, for you, I think you're letter A.
I think I'm A.
High anxiety. Stop watching so much reality TV and meditate.
Okay.
With Deepak.
I can do that with Deepak, my Deepak.
All right.
All right, so thanks, guys, for always, when you can, using our codes for our sponsors. We really appreciate it. And today we have Function of Beauty. I actually just, I got it for myself, and then my daughter loved it so much, I got it for her. She's 11, and we got the peach, and it was so good. And then sometimes they have these little extras you can get, and I got like the deep conditioning, but my daughter got, when I got hers, I got her the anti-frizz because she has curly hair, and it works great. Honestly, it really does. And then I used it in Abby's hair too, and it smells good. So, I think one size fits all is not a phrase that should describe your beauty routine. Each of us is unique, and Function of Beauty gets that. And you get to do a little quiz that can help you customize your own hair goals. Function of Beauty is the world leader in customizable beauty, offering 100% custom solutions just for you. Here's how it works. First, you take a quick but thorough quiz and tell them a little bit about your hair goals, which is actually a lot of fun, especially if you do it with your kids. You can even choose the color and fragrance you prefer. Next, Function of Beauty's team determines the right blend of ingredients, then bottles your custom formula to order, and they even write your name on it. It's so cute, and they give you stickers. It's a lot of fun. Then they deliver your personalized formula right to your door in a cute, customized bottle. They even print your name on it, which is what I just said, along with pumps, stickers, gifts, and even detailed instruction card describing your hair care regimen. Function of Beauty only uses clean ingredients, and all of their formulas are vegan and cruelty-free, which is very important to me. They never use sulfates, parabens, or any other harmful ingredients. There are over 50,000 real 5-star reviews and counting, and Function of Beauty now offers a new skincare line. It's the same quality and customization you expect now for your skincare routine. So what are you waiting for? Go to functionofbeauty.com/KYA to take your quiz, and you can save 20% off your first hair care order.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I've been going to the other bathroom where all the Function of Beauty stuff is.
Where all our girl stuff is.
I've been stealing it. I've been using it.
Peach or lavender?
I like the peach. Mm-hmm. It was weird. Actually, I was in the store the other day, and an older gentleman came up to me, started smelling my hair, said I smelled really good.
That's not what I want.
His name was Joe. But yeah, it's really good. Really good.
I wasn't expecting that.
Sorry.
So go to functionofbeauty.com/KYA to let them know you heard about it from our show, please, and to get 20% off of your hair care order. That's functionofbeauty.com/KYA. So I'm recording this on November 3rd, and it's 9:54 p.m. my time, and you'll be listening to it a week and some days later. But I thought it was a good time to talk about anxiety because it's going on a lot now. There's a lot of anxiety happening now in our country, and it's something that you're probably familiar with, especially if you're listening to a podcast like this. And I thought it would be a great conversation for today. So in my own life, a struggle has been major anxiety, and it's so normalized. There is no way to really even separate it from my daily existence, and perhaps you understand that. I don't know myself without it. And in readings I've seen, because when I do a reading, I step into your energy and how things work for you. So in readings, I have seen that it does take shape in different ways within the energies of the clients I read. And I see that it truly is customized to each person. It sits differently and acts up in different ways. And I see that anxiety is a true deterrent because we are taught to be ashamed of it, to ignore it, to carry on as if everything is normal in spite of it. When I started doing readings, the anxiety lessened for me. And it didn't go away, but it did change shape. And now I understand that for me, anxiety is a way that spirit starts to speak to me. It's kind of a way where I am getting messages, and if I try to block them, the anxiety gets worse. So now when I feel anxiety, I understand that something's going on, even if I don't get it right away. That's what it's about. And obviously I'll take this moment to say I'm super not a doctor, nor do I call myself a doctor or anything like that. We have brains, okay? They are a part of our human condition, and they release chemicals, and those chemicals are very powerful. And sometimes we do need professional help. And I do feel that we can help ourselves often with reflection and connection to spirit and overall self-acceptance and all the work that goes into that. I feel that can help, but I am in no way saying that if you can't do it on your own, you shouldn't get help. You definitely should get help. You should always seek help if you need it and never be ashamed. It's important to not feel isolated and alone because anxiety can get very overwhelming. So I'm just putting that out there that today, this is not a replacement for therapy or treatment or anything that you need that's professional. When I started my own journey, when I was fighting my gifts and whatnot, I was having postpartum depression. I went to it was a lifesaver. Therapy was, and they taught me lots of things. They put it into perspective, and one of the perspectives is that we're a soul living in a human body. So there's some things we have to understand about our human body, and one of them is that we release chemicals that have like a fight or flight reaction to them. And you have to understand that about yourself because it'll help you compartmentalize it. So having said all that, anxiety truly has been a real plague to me. And I remember when, like I said, I was fighting my gifts, it would come over me in waves. I would throw up, I would cry, I would freak out. I would have what I know now are panic attacks. I thought I would die. And looking back, I see that I was going through a transition of sorts. My soul was pulling me forward, and I was just too scared to follow that path. I was trying to stay the same. I was trying to be stuck. And anxiety seems to creep in with that pattern in many of us. It's the things we want, but we cannot speak to. It's unsaid words. It's the power of untapped desires pulsating through us. And when we ignore it, it gets 100 times worse. One of the ways that I try to think about my anxiety is like a toddler, like a little 2-year-old kid. Like if a toddler wants something from you, they do not let up. They keep going. And if you ignore them, what happens? They get louder and they get more and more irrational. And if you've ever been around a child, it's easier, as you know, just to get down on one knee and look at them in the eye and say, okay, yes, what do you need? And listen and give it all the energy and attention in that moment, to the kid, to the child. And I feel like dealing with my own anxiety in this way has been effective. I stop. I take a moment and I listen. And honestly, usually, just like when you do this with an actual child, it's something really dumb. It's something really stupid or inane that your anxiety wants or is telling you or whatever. It's usually something that's like not a big deal. Perhaps it's a hypothetical situation playing out the way I don't want it to, or it's about something I can't control at all, or it's about guilt left over from my programming, or it's always something very inane. And when I listen to it and I really contemplate it, it does settle down. Instead of piling up, when you pay attention to it, it settles down. And I get to see what it was, and I get basically to name it. And when you name something, it loses its power. And that's the thing with anxiety. If you name it, it loses its grip on you, So, I'm having anxiety. And then you take a minute and you're like, okay, that email just came in from my boss and the way that she wrote that, now I'm like, I realize that I'm triggered because I read between the lines and I feel like she doesn't think I'm doing a good job. And then you just stop and you're like, oh, okay, that's what it is. Got it. Moving on. I get it. It's just something little like that can help you. And then you have reflection. So it can be helpful to you too. I see that many people actually modify all of their behaviors to avoid anxiety, to avoid panic attacks. And that is where life can get stuck. I see people stuck in jobs and relationships and friendships just because they don't want to deal with the panic and anxiety eating at them, that if they're if they do something they want to do, they're bad, or they're going to be alone, or they're just going to be stuck with their own thoughts or something like that. Anxiety can make you feel very unproductive. It's isolating. It makes you feel like you aren't with the rest of us. That's the thing with anxiety. It makes you feel separate, like you're outside of us. It's really sad not to feel part of things, and that's what anxiety does. It robs you of the present moment. It robs you of feeling like you're joyful. And the lies we tell ourselves are detrimental, because guess what? We all feel like that. Every single one of us feels like that. We're all living in our own heads, dealing with our own stuff. We all feel like outsiders, because in this culture, we aren't talking about this stuff like I try to talk about it on this podcast. We have to be vulnerable with our own feelings. We have to say how we're doing instead of pretend that it's just not going on. You have to have friendships and family members and relationships where you can say, I'm not doing good today, or this is how I feel, or, whatever it is, I'm anxious about this or that, instead of just like brushing it under the carpet. It's the shame of anxiety that keeps us isolated, not anxiety itself. And that shame is socially created. So each aura color, I want to go through the aura colors now and how they deal with anxiety, because each one deals with them, with the symptoms a little differently. And it's important to note that people will try to distract themselves from anxiety with self-destructive and distancing tendencies. So you'll see that in each aura color. They just do it in different ways. So let's go into yellows. Yellows are the type to get overscheduled. They will use the avoidance technique to the fullest. They're pros at this in order to stay away from their thoughts. The anxious yellow can't really settle down or sleep or do anything like fall asleep or have a good night's sleep without like a drug or a sleeping pill or a glass of wine to do it. It's a constant uphill battle to stay busy so that the thoughts just don't creep in. The avoidance tactic, the avoidance game, it's aggressive. And I see yellows also hold a ton of stress in their gut area. So I will see yellows flare up with digestive issues when stressed. Yellows can do this thing too, where they take on way too many projects. They will decide I'm going to sell my house, I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to renovate a house, like all at the same time, while I'm homeschooling kids and working full time and taking care of sick grandma and showing up to every baby shower and birthday party and wedding with a gift and a smile plastered on my face saying that I am fine. And yellows can get so good at convincing themselves of this, that they tend to get that darker shade of yellow. I call because I told you so yellow. I talk about the shades on bonus episode 2, but that's a shade. Because I told you so yellow, where all of a sudden no one can tell them any different from what they want to see. Yellows can close the door on reality sometimes in order to avoid the feelings of anxiety. Greens isolate. They isolate but they isolate like while everybody's around them. So they can be in a room with 100 people and they can have this vibe of being a very solitary creature. You can be in a relationship with a green, and if that green is anxious, you can feel very alone even though you're living with them. It's a vibe they put up. It's a fortress of sorts. They can shut others out. They can create emotional walls between them and their true feelings. And they live behind those walls. And the thing with greens is when they shut off the feelings button, all the other buttons go off too. So anxious greens can become very shut down emotionally, robotic, and unfeeling. They can become almost like walking zombies. They can hear anything, but it's in one ear, out the other. There is no getting through to them. They are with us physically, but they can go somewhere completely else in their minds. The green's mind is like an intricate system anyhow of ins and outs and this and that. And they can get lost in it. They can go within and retreat there, and they can avoid the anxiety because of it. I will see greens in this state. They'll start to drink or use substances to keep the retreat going, to keep the fortress up. And in here, they can get all that bad self-destructive stuff going on. I often fear greens the most for self-harm. like suicide when they get like this, because they become so closed off that all of a sudden that's not such a scary option for them anymore. And like their families don't know how to reach them. Nobody knows how to get to them, and they can take it very personally. This is extreme with green people, but that they worry me the most, because they're so good at shutting everyone out when they're also trying to shut out their own anxiety or their own feelings. But this is just how greens deal with things when they don't have coping mechanisms for them. That's why when I see somebody who's raising a green child, the biggest thing you can do for your green kid is teach them how to articulate their feelings, because that's where green people need the most help with. How to put words to it, how to name it, so it doesn't get control over them. Blues get very sad. They can be super vulnerable about their anxiety, which is good. But then this is the aura color I'll see depression the most. I'll see depression with this color, like clinical depression. It becomes so incredibly heavy that they just don't know what to do with it. Blues get very stuck. And they can start to have health issues, which will reflect their own fears. It's kind of crazy. I will see, for example, blues develop physical manifestations of their own self-hatred. So I'll see them hold on to sadness and then watch it develop into like weight issues or hormonal issues or even throat issues. I will see them feel they don't have a voice to say what they want, for example, and then they'll start developing like a real diagnosable issue in the thyroid. Or I'll see that they feel they can't move forward in life, like they're stuck, and all of a sudden they'll start developing like circulatory issues in their legs. So they will develop like a manifestation of whatever their anxiety is. They have to watch their anxiety because they end up punishing themselves for it in a physical way, which is their form of self-abuse and destruction. They will own the feelings as a shameful thing because they'll feel others picking it up off of them. So they feel it double. They feel themselves feeling it, and they feel others feeling it too. And then they create a narrative. This is the blue thing. They create this narrative where they are truly the worst person around. And they'll feel like they're the cause of everyone's sadness, and they're the sole reason why things are not working out. That's the ego and the empath. Like empaths, we think egos as like, I'm the best person in the world. Well, with a blue person's ego who's going through something with this, like major anxiety issues, all of a sudden the ego tells them, oh no, you're the cause. You actually are super important because you're the super important worst thing for everybody. It just flips the script. Bad, good, it doesn't matter. It makes you think you're the only one that's doing anything. So that's the thing with blues. They turn on themselves, which is, it's tough. It's tough. Red people. So reds, when they get it, okay. So red people, they just don't like to feel out of control. I'm dealing with a red person right now who's having anxiety. And what's he doing on election night? He's downstairs yelling at the news. Okay. Nobody else is there. Nobody hears him. Okay. He's just yelling at the news. Okay. So how do red people, I'm up here, everybody, talking to you. How do red people deal with anxiety and anger? They can feel upset when they're not in control, red people. And then they'll react negatively to that with a lot of different, like, we'll call them behavioral issues. They can get like just angry or ragey, or they can do destructive things, like they can start fights, or they can become very grumpy, like a little cloud is sitting on them. I read this book, The Pigeon, I have kids, okay? So The Pigeon Drives the Bus, or Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, or whatever. I'm sure you've read that book if you have children. And there's this like one picture, like the pigeon can't drive the bus, so like the pigeon's angry, and there's this like cloud sitting above them. And that always reminds me of a red person who's angry. Like there's this little cloud. They're just like, they're angry. That's like red people. They just get like a cloud. Reds don't like the feeling of swirling, uncontrolled emotion, which is anxiety. So they tend to get very volatile when dealing with anxiety. Edgy, aggressive, combative can all be ways reds deal with these feelings. And if they can't like unleash it on the actual source, you got to be careful because they'll try to find like the next available one. So yeah, anxiety equals anger with red people. Purples are no strangers to anxiety. Purples and anxiety coexist. I see that. Listen, I see in all the aura colors. Obviously there's anxiety, but purples tend to have it different when it comes to anxiety just because of the things attached to it. Like, we all have a connection to spirit. But in purples, that's especially how spirit connects. So we all have anxiety. It all means, something as I go through it. But with purples, anxiety also has the extra implication of it being a marker for how spirit talks to you. So in purples, anxiety can mean all the things I'm talking about, and it can also mean that spirit's trying to talk to you. So it's like that little extra part that can kind of throw them overboard. Because in purples, that's how spirit connects, like through that anxious feeling. So I will see purples get lots of anxiety just because that's just how they are themselves. That's how they open up naturally to the energy within and around them. And purples can experience it so intensely that it's not something they'll even try to hide. They usually accept it. Like, yep, I'm anxious. That's me. I have major anxiety issues. They'll just say it because it's just too much a part of them to try to hide it. But I will see purples dealing with like anxiety conditions, like actual diagnosable ones. Usually they'll actually go and get it diagnosed, maybe because they're more accepting of it. So oftentimes I will see them on prescribed medications for it more than other colors. I will see them turn to substances though, when they try to self-medicate, and then I will see them overdo it. So alcohol, meds, addiction issues can come from the purple's relationship with anxiety. Because they want to distract. So those are the ones who are going to self-medicate. And that's where it gets tricky. Indigos deal with anxiety by like basically running away. Like me doing the podcast right now during election night with the red person screaming downstairs at the television. I ran away. I'm going to talk to you guys instead. That's calmer. Okay, so the Indighost. It's real. It's real, people. Indigos will run. After this election, you will not be seeing us for a while. We're recuperating somewhere dark and warm. I will see indigos just totally disappear out of situations where there is a surplus of stress and anxiety. Of all the other colors, indigos will accept that they will feel anxiety and will not be able to deal with it the most. Like, they get that it's anxiety and they get they're going to have to go deal with it and go deal with it alone. And they do take action. And indigos will like do anything to try to avoid dealing with it publicly. So you'll see as an indigo becomes more self-aware, you'll see them, just spend more time with themselves. They deal with anxiety truly by suffering in silence. They want to be alone. They want to deal with it in their own way and come out and not talk about it when it's over. Indigos don't like to talk about it so much. They hate indigos, just like a blue. Indigos hate talking about their problems, but indigos even more so, I guess. Why? Because when you feel your own feelings and then you have the ability to feel other people's feelings, you don't want to talk about your feelings and feel them feeling your feelings, if that makes sense. And if you're indigo, that makes sense. It's just too much. You're just going to go, you're going to hide under the covers for a week, you're going to suffer in silence, you're going to deal with your nonsense, and you're going to come out and you're going to be like, yep, I'm good. Let's not talk about it. Moving on. That's how indigos deal with stress. They indighost, they deal with it, they come out, they don't want to talk about it. Is it healthy? No, of course not. But that's how they deal with anxiety, because it's too hard sometimes for an indigo to ask for help because they don't want to feel somebody else dealing with it. That's why if you're an indigo and you really need professional help, it's like you really need to find a counselor that gets it, that really gets it on not just like a superficial level, like on a very deep level. Otherwise, you feel that they don't understand you, and it just kind of reaffirms that, yep, I should have done this all by myself. Got to talk about turquoises. Turquoises shift a lot. When they get anxious, they tend to shift their colors and pick up a ton of inauthentic ones. It's very hard for turquoises anyways in life to feel identity. That like I talk about, they're like water. They hold the shape of things. They hold the reflection of what is going on. So turquoises can absorb the anxiety, but then they can become it. They can cope by taking in the things that they're not in order to get through it in a way which is totally inauthentic to them. To deal with anxiety, they can become someone else when it passes them by. For example, I often say turquoises are the most difficult to understand, especially when you are one. They need touch. They need grounding. This is why so many turquoises get attached to their crystals, simply because of their need to outsource their ability to get through things. They need anchors to deal with their anxiety, so they don't lose themselves as they push through it. Turquoises always have to be careful because they hold the reflection of what's going on, that they don't become the reflection, that they differentiate. So when there's things going on that are not in the turquoise's control, they can try to become in control by becoming the things. The unaware turquoise has a hard time with this. The aware turquoise gets it. And then they have their outsourcing tools. Okay, I'm going to meditate, get my crystals, I understand, self-talk, all that. Pinks. Got to talk about the pinks because I have more of you now listening. Pinks, when anxious, tend to go hardcore into their fairy tale land. They will surround themselves even more stubbornly than usual in their world in order to deal with anxiety. They will use their imaginations. They will use their own version of reality, which they prefer. Not that they don't understand what is happening around them. They totally do. It's just something which they tend to ignore wholeheartedly. My daughter has a friend, and I was talking to her mom, and the mom was saying how, she doesn't want to get old. Like, she was talking about her daughter, and she was saying, she doesn't want to get older. She gets very upset that, she's supposed to grow up or not play with Barbies anymore or do this and that. And the kid's pink, I see this little pink aura around this kid. And it's not that she doesn't understand that she's growing up, and she doesn't, it's just she refuses to do it. She absolutely refuses to do it. And the more they push, the more she'll just go into her own world, and that's what pinks do. And that's why I think we all love pinks, because they really fight against it. If you watch that Paris Hilton documentary, I'm kind of going off on this now. I forgot to talk about this. I think when we were talking about Paris, but in a few episodes ago, but the last line, I thought it was so interesting. If you watched her documentary on YouTube, the producer was like, I think she's late 30s or something. And the producer's like, you have to let your brand go. You're going to outgrow, or you're going to age out your brand. And Paris said like the most pink thing. She's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to do this forever. That's not going to happen. She's a smart girl. She built this like $1 billion industry. Like, she knows exactly. She refuses. And that's pink. That's what they do. When there's anxiety or stress, they double down. They double down on their imaginations, their own versions of realities. That's how they deal with anxiety, which is why I wanted to end on the pinks, because they're so cool about it. So how do we deal with this? How do we deal with anxiety? How do we move forward? A lot of you have been told things like, oh, let it go, or just drop it, or don't think about it, or, that doesn't work. None of that works. Anxiety is kind of like a radio you can't turn off in your head. If you're like me, it's always on, no matter what. That's why going to sleep at night or just having quiet time, these are things I have personally had to practice, because anxiety gets in there and makes itself known. So, yeah, we can't do that. It's not going anywhere. So this is my recommendation. You have to accept it. You have to accept its presence. And like I said, therapy helped me with that a lot. A lot of it's just your brain reacting to the environment around you. You release chemicals, you get stressed out, your body thinks you have to run or flee or do this or that, and that's just your physical response. And we're thankful for that. Thank you, body, for reacting normally. It's too much. It's too much. So if you kind of understand it scientifically, and you accept its presence and you understand its purpose, it's just trying to keep you alive. It's easier to kind of accept why it's there. And then the next thing is, what I've done is I've befriended it. Oh, there's my anxiety. It's not going anywhere. I don't try to make it go anywhere. I listen to it. I look it in the eye. Like I said with that toddler, what would you like? What do you need now? I'm listening. I listen to it. And I've taken it as a friend. And it's a friend that tells me what's going on. Just like pain. Just like when you're in pain. When we don't like pain, but we're thankful for pain because we need it. If you're in pain, something's wrong. It's how you listen to your body. Same thing with anxiety. If you have it, something's wrong. It's time to listen to what that is. Could be the job you're in. Could be the relationship you're in. Could be a family situation. Could be there's something going on when you have anxiety that needs to be paid attention to. And it gets worse if you don't pay attention to it. And honestly, it might not be wrong. It might not be wrong. So it's important that you understand that it's trying to tell you something's off here. And even if you can't do anything about it, at least acknowledge what it is it's trying to tell you that's off. And try to name it. Even if there's no solution. Okay, I feel my boss's energy. She's really toxic. It gives me anxiety. Okay, that's what it is. I have no solution. I have to work here, but at least I know what it is. And then you ask yourself, well, can I do anything? Like, what can I do? And usually that's a question that we avoid because it means there's a lot of stuff we don't want to do. And that's like a whole other podcast. Next steps. What do we do now? And your ego steps in and tries to make you avoid that. Because what does your ego like you to do? The same thing every day. Likes you to be stuck. You're surviving just fine the way you are now. Please don't grow. Growth means death, okay? Because your ego, again, is a human part of you. So all this ties in, and if you see it, it's easier to circumvent it. Sometimes understanding where you do have control is helpful. And how do you make yourself feel in control? Like meditation can help you, journaling, throwing yourself into something that, you want to do. Like, I want to read this book series, or I want to take this class, or I want to, start walking more. I want to clean, I'm cleaning the kitchen floors. I want to take that energy, that anxious energy, and transform it into something positive for yourself. You have control that way. And just back to the election, like I see, where do you feel triggered right now? Like if that's something that's stressing you out, or anything, a family situation that's going on, or anything you can't control, work situation, things going on that have nothing to do with you, like bring it back home. Like, why do I feel so personally triggered by this? And that's super important because what it does is it brings you back down to the thing that you can control. Because maybe these things that happen that have nothing to do with you have everything to do with you. Because they're reminding you of deep-seated emotional traumas that you have not healed yet. Where you don't feel control at all over, and they reside inside of you, and they need attention. That's the thing, like a lot, like with this election or just anything like globally that you don't have a lot of control right now. It's like, but what is this? Do I feel like my life is unjust? Do I feel like people have walked over me? Who in my family has done this? Which friend just did this? Like what patterns does this remind me of in my own life? That can help you too. And I guess just the anxiety brought you to that. And you can ask yourself, okay, how do I take care of this then? Who do I confront? How do I deal with it? How do I reflect upon it? And I guess my whole point with this segment today was to have, like I said, a healthy respect for your anxiety. It's an affliction, and it's something that isn't going anywhere, but it is something that can be helpful to you. It can be a tool if you start seeing it in a different way. And I hope this gave you some sort of insight into that tonight. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hey, Scotty.
Hey.
So it's 3 days after I recorded that. Have you stopped yelling at the news?
I'm still yelling at the news. But
you drink a lot of coffee and it's almost like you have to be there for them.
It's true. Yeah, no, it's like really weird. I've enjoyed the most is Vegas has the odds on it.
Yeah.
And I've been love watching the Vegas odds.
And who's your guy? Who's your guy with the count? He counts the counties. You love him,
John King. Yeah,
I love John King.
Yeah, I love the breakdown of the counties.
You like the math. Yeah.
But anyway, I think with all the anxiety going on, we have a lot of people on the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family who wrote in and want us to aura-splain.
Let's aura-splain it. So aura-splaining is when it's like Dear Abby,
yes.
like that.
Dear Mystic Michaela.
But in aura.
Yes. So we chose a few.
Yeah.
And we'll read them.
Okay.
And we'll tell you their aura colors. Some of these people do know their aura colors. Some people do not.
Okay.
The first one we have is Shannon.
Okay.
And
read it
Shannon
to us.
writes, Scott.
Oh.
That's a great way to get my attention. Can you please ask Mystic Michaela what the heck I'm supposed to do with my life? I'm 23. I have no idea what the next step should be. Dye my hair? Okay, well, that's very specific, I guess. Break up with my boyfriend because I'm too young and haven't experienced everything yet. Go back to school. Adopt more cats. I'm going through a quarter-life crisis and trying to connect with my life contract, but I still second-guessing everything.
Okay, so, and then I'm looking at her picture.
Okay.
But, like, what colors would you say she is based off of what she wrote?
With the dyeing
or explain it, go.
Yeah, with the dyeing of the hair, the cats, breaking up with boyfriends, I'm thinking definitely some purple.
Yeah.
Purple bombing.
Just purple bombing.
She doesn't really know what she wants to do.
Yeah.
She's getting caught up also on little things like just dyeing your hair.
Yeah.
Could that be yellow?
Yes.
Okay.
She's purple yellow.
Yeah.
Scott, Laura explained it. Yes. Okay, so here's the thing with you, Shannon. You're purple yellow, and I have this other Instagram account, Know Your Aura Pod. It's for the podcast, and I've been doing like aura combination explanations, and I just did yellow purple, and like it's just so hard because it's like that battle. It's like yellows are usually very logical and let's do things this way and that makes sense, and then the purple is just like screw that, and I feel like that's what Shannon you're going through. And the thing is you have to watch the purple, because if it feels like you're stuck or stagnant, which is what it sounds like you feel like deep down, you're gonna purple bomb, which means you're going to like go attack things that really have nothing to do with anything, but will make you feel like you're having a change. So dyeing your hair is harmless. Go for it. But like breaking up with your boyfriend because you're too young and haven't experienced everything, like the grass is not greener. Like it's not a reason to break up with him. Just because, those things you have to watch. Go back to school, adopt more cats. These kind of things are more... I will never say no to adopting more cats. Like, always get the cats. But, like, those things are more that they can't hurt you. But be careful, like, with personal relationships or money or even anything that has to do with hurting yourself. That's where you got to watch the purple, because purple, when you're purple bombing, which it sounds like what you're doing, you're going to want to explode places in your life, and it doesn't matter where they are as long as you have the illusion of feeling like you're growing and changing. But really, it's just a bomb. Yeah.
All right, so our next one comes from Lindsay. Mm-hmm. Lindsay, I can tell right off the bat, is very smart. She hashtagged Jumanji. I mean, once I see that, it's getting picked. So this is what Lindsay writes. I have an old friend from high school. We don't talk much, other than when our families run into each other in our small hometown. I do enjoy seeing her posts about her kids and what she's been up to. But she's super into pyramid schemes. Pyramid scheme businesses, books, workout clothes, candles, you name it. So she's selling a lot of the MLL stuff, right?
Yeah.
I have politely declined every single one of her party... MLM. I have politely declined every single one of her party invitations, yet she continues to send me messages begging me to attend her parties online. It's become clear to me she's not interested in being friends or staying in touch. She's just trying to sell me. I think... then I'm ready to block her on social media, but I feel guilty for wanting to do this. What should I do?
All right, Aura explainer, Scott.
Right, so, Lindsay, obviously the person that you were friends with in high school is some red aura person, maybe, or yellow or something, very intense energy, keeps coming after you, wanting you to, join these schemes for her own benefit. You obviously are not into it, but you don't want to hurt her feelings. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to assume that Lindsay is definitely either indigo or blue. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't, you probably have to go through that one. And she doesn't know what to do because she actually feels the person's energy wanting her to do it. Mm-hmm. Like this lady wants her to do it, but she doesn't want to do it.
This is like your own life living with me.
Yes, this is exactly what I live with. So that's why I know I'm the indigo whisperer. That's why I'm saying you're indigo. Am I close?
Yeah, she's like blue to go.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure. Actually, that's right. I wasn't sure if she was blue or indigo.
That's kind of like, I'm not sure. It's like blue to go.
Yeah, and the friend probably is like more
you
intense.
You never know, because sometimes the problem with the MLM. Well, I'll get into that, but keep going.
Oh, and that was it. She just wanted,
yeah. So here's the thing, Lindsay. So because you're blue to go, you do like to actually see kids' pictures on social media. That is like blue to go. Like, I know, Scott, you don't care, which is a mean thing to say. It's true. But like, honestly, like blue to go, blues and indigos, we don't mind seeing your kids' pictures or your cats or your dog. Like, we like it. We're like excited about your Halloween photos or first day back to school. Like, we're into it. So right there, like, that's like a very just empath thing. But yeah, I think like with MLM, and we all have friends that you don't do it. And the thing is some of them have boundaries and some don't. So the thing is that she's not respecting your boundaries. So nothing against MLM people. A lot of the people I personally know who are MLM people understand after a few polite no's, they stop asking, you know. This one is not, meaning she has boundary issues, meaning now the ball's in your court and you are not a bad person for blocking her on social media because it's inauthentic and it's not nice and she's pushing. But yeah, it's like Scott said, you're feeling her want and her need and all that desperation and that's all her stuff. And when you're blue to go or deep blue or indigo, like you can feel other people's wants and needs and their like desperation, and you feel like you have to heal that or fix that, but that's not yours, that's theirs. And it's amazing how it comes through social media, just through a Facebook message. Yep. Like invitation, like you feel like, oh, like just the decline can like, oh my God, I feel so mean, am I a bad person? Nope, you're feeling how she feels about you doing that, and that's not nice. So there is no problem blocking her on social media or muting her or whatever you have to do.
All right. Our next one comes from Justine. She sent in a picture of herself and her husband. She writes, I think my husband is the funniest guy in the whole world.
Oh,
Justine, come on.
So cute.
Everybody knows that's me, but all right.
That's sweet.
Maybe he's the second most funniest. I think my husband is the most funniest guy in the world. That's very sweet. And his weird really matches my weird. It's kind of like us.
Yeah.
But he does not understand my easy overwhelm and need for alone time. What's the deal?
All right, or explain it, Scott.
This is an easy one.
Yeah.
He is not the indigo whisperer.
Yeah.
He has to understand that the indigo or the blue to go, whatever, needs the downtime.
Yeah.
So as funny as he is, and let's say things are going great, conversation's going well, eventually that indigo person needs to slink off. Hopefully the Netflix is still on and the red person paid the bill, and go watch, the Queen's Gambit. Or Vampire Diaries for the third or fourth time.
It soothes me.
So that's an easy one for me. He's probably, I'm going to assume he's not a red, and I'm going to probably say he's probably a green.
He is. Yeah,
okay.
He's a green. She's an indigo. Yeah, so here's the thing, Justine. Because he's green, I think red people get it a little. Not that green people get it. It just takes them a minute, and they need more logic. So it's with your green guy, he just doesn't understand that. Because he doesn't understand it, it's still not real to you. So here's my green person logic to give you, and I've used this with other people before, and I really feel like it works. Let's say you had a migraine headache. How would he react to it? He'd bring you Excedrin. He'd turn the lights off. He'd say, take your moment. That's like, does he have a headache? No. Can he feel your headache? No. Does he not believe you're having one? Of course not. That's the same thing with your empath overwhelm. Just because he doesn't experience it himself, he has to understand does not mean it's not real. So if you can explain this, because green people need to be explained things in certain ways so that they understand it, then I feel like you can be like, oh, okay, get it. So this empath overwhelm is some sort of condition that you have akin to like a headache. So I will respect it even though I have no idea what it's about, how it feels, or understand it at all.
All right, there it is. Last one. Let's do one more to end it up. Tiana writes, I'm usually aura-splaining everything.
Yes.
That's awesome. We love that when the...
Aura-splain it.
Yeah, we love it. I don't typically drink and hang out with friends. Self-diagnosed indigo.
She's a self-diagnosed indigo.
Okay,
I love
so
it.
She's kind of like a loner, doesn't drink, doesn't have friends. But a couple of weeks ago, there was something I couldn't miss out on. Well, I got drunk and couldn't access my abilities as well, and I finally had an audience who wanted to hear me go off on all things aura. Here's a photo of me at said event. It's her in a hot tub boat.
Drink and let your purple out.
Yeah, she's a purple indigo. That's what I have to go with on this one. And there's a lesson here, people.
Yeah, what's the lesson,
If you
Scott?
want to be a good aura splainer, you can't drink with it. Because... what's going to happen is, finally your moment is, there it is. You have your moment. You've been waiting for this. You finally got out, pandemic and all, whatever. And now you have your audience and you're just too drunk to aura-splain.
It sounds like she did it.
No, but she couldn't do it well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So basically what happened was she was calling.
Said she finally had an audience who wanted to hear her go off.
Right, but then she couldn't do it well. So basically what happened was she was telling green people they were red. She was telling purple people they were yellow.
I was thinking she just lost her inhibitions, and now the next day everyone's like, are you a crazy aura person? And she's like, oh, God. Now they're all going to want aura readings and understand it. Or I don't know. We'll see. She'll have to clarify for us.
Yeah. Tiana,
you're an indigo purple.
You're an indigo purple. We love that your aura's playing. And, we'll clean up the mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it. It's okay. Send them to us.
Yeah.
You definitely, what happened was your indigo, which is probably your dominant color, went wayward when you had a couple of beers. And then when you saw the hot tub on the boat. I mean, the purple's just like, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Let's get out. Woo-hoo.
Right.
And you had a purple moment.
She doesn't drink a lot, so she took a sip of vodka and it's all over.
She had one sip of vodka. She's Mystic Tiana on the boat. Yeah. Everyone's like gonna bug her now. All the green friends in her life oh, what color do you see, Tiana?
Yeah.
And welcome to my life, Tiana.
MT.
Welcome to my life.
MM and MT.
All the green people make fun of you.
All right, people.
All right, thanks for tuning in, you guys. I hope this helped you with your anxiety this week, made you chuckle, made you understand, made you just be able to communicate with yourself a little bit better. And we are always here for you. You guys take care.
If you want to be the most interesting person at the cocktail party, well, hop on over and listen to the Brain Candy Podcast.
Our award-winning content will have you laughing whilst you're learning.
We read all the best articles, books, and studies and keep up with new TV shows, documentaries, and pop culture. Then cram it all into 2 shows a week.
Conspiracy theories, cannibal rabbits, unsolved mysteries, the history of the Walkman. There's something for everyone.
The Brain Candy Podcast. Find our link in the show notes.
Or simply search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app.